Welcome back to Season 2 of the In Formation podcast. This year we have a lot of new things lined up for you. New faces, a new format, and a new host. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Welcome back once again to Season 2, this new episode, this new year, new format. We've kind of already talked about that. We're now face-to-face. I can see you. Maybe you can't see me. I can't see him. Who's him?
See him.
There's a new host with us. We don't have Tony this year, the infamous host that he had a great saying. Hey, how you doing over here?
Exactly. How you doing?
We're going to get into our new host really quick, but just want to welcome you all again for this new year, this new format. I mean, this is new for all of us doing video now. We hope to continue this and kind of upgrade our studio. We're doing our best with our mother here and what we have for us here at the seminary, but it's so good that we're back. Just to reintroduce myself, for those who are probably new.
And now that you can see his face.
Yeah, now you
know the voice,
face to
but
face.
now you can see his face.
I'm one of your hosts, Gabriel Campos, and we have our new host,
Michael Santos. And it's a pleasure to be with you, Gabriel.
It is a great pleasure to have you. This year, honestly, I think it's going to be great. Behind the camera, now we can finally say this, we have Aaron. There's no camera to him, but we've always mentioned Aaron, where we might get a camera soon enough.
Eventually you will see Aaron.
We've always mentioned Aaron, he's on the board. Now he's really behind the camera. He's behind the scenes. But just starting this episode, we're really going to go into you, to the new host and who you are, what you've done, what you haven't done, what stage of formation you're in.
What I'm still learning.
So I want to ask you first, before we continue, kind of explain to me the before seminary life, what led you here, and then now in your 2 years in seminary that you've had so far in St. Vincent's.
Okay, thank you, Gabriel. So before seminary, I had previously attended Ave Maria University, where I got my undergrad degrees in music and in history, minoring in medieval studies. So did a lot of reading.
Oh, that's a lot of reading.
And after college, I started working in Naples at a classical school there, where I taught third grade my first year, which was
a great bunch.
21 little angels. And then after that year, I ended up teaching sixth grade history.
Oh, more angels.
And also high school art history. And so teaching for those 2 years, I had for a long time felt called inclined to enter seminary with a lot of prayer and discernment. And I found myself in those 2 years feeling like I was putting off kind of what God was calling me to, but I had known for a long time. And so during those 2 years praying, I ended up reaching out to my vocations director in the great diocese of St. Petersburg, and they're deciding to start the process. So I applied, and last year was my first year, going into my second year now. So I'm in second discipleship, which is the second year of philosophy here at St. Vincent de Paul.
Great philosophy. We've had plenty of episodes and conversations about philosophy and the love and joy for it, and as well as the tireless nights of studying and reading and trying to figure out who you are, who are we, what's the universe.
What is anything, really?
Yeah.
Can we know?
So you mentioned your second year here at St. Vincent's. How has it been just here? I mean, your first year, you kind of walked in. You had a small class.
We had a very small class. We had 5 of us in the class.
And I think we mentioned this on one of the episodes on last year. For the Halloween party, I absolutely loved you guys because you just threw on bed sheets.
Yes, it was very last minute, so we decided to go as ghosts,
and it was so funny. I called you the Five Guys Burgers and Fries the whole year, pretty much.
Yes, you did. That was a very appropriate title. But yeah, no, last year was amazing. We had just the 5 of us, so we got to be really close, really get to know each other very well. Of that original crew, 3 of us are left. But we're going into this year stronger than ever with new members absorbed into our crew. There are 6 of us now.
Just one more.
One more. But we replaced 2. So
there you go.
Yeah.
So I'm going to word this where I don't want to poke too much, but when you entered, was seminary exactly what you thought it would have been? Like, did you have like already like a thought before, like a seminary is going to be like this and this and this? Did you come in, like, did you check the boxes? Like, yeah, it's exactly what I thought, or was it more? Was it less?
I would say seminary was definitely more than I expected, in a good way. Meaning, like, I guess, in a sense, I didn't think that the formation team, like all of the faculty here and the professors, would be as supportive as they are. They're extremely present to us as we need them, and desire that we become good men first, I feel, and then, if God willing, we become priests, good priests. Because you can't be a good priest unless you're a good man first. So I was surprised at that. A lot of priests I had spoken to in the past were much more of the get the quota in versus a get the good man first. And so seeing that and seeing in my brothers here men who were truly seeking the good, seeking to become good men to then serve the people of God, was just very inspiring to me and strengthening in my vocation. So yes, philosophy is not necessarily what I expected, but formation, like the whole presence here at the seminary is more than I expected, and I'm grateful.
That's beautiful. So part of not expecting so much of the philosophy part, did you expect being asked to be one of the hosts for the Formation podcast? See, we could do that now, pointing to the camera. It's going to be awesome.
As Aaron dies behind the camera.
Yeah. Soon enough, we're going to get a camera to him. We're going to put a mic on him, and then he's going to tell us.
And you're going to get quippy commentary.
He's going to have commentary for us. But did you expect, like...
No, to be entirely honest, I did not expect to be on the Information podcast.
So I will say, when Tony and I were talking, well, Aaron, Tony, myself, we were talking on how next year is going to follow, right? Last year's episode, we know that Tony mentioned, well, I mean, last year, but the last episode was released maybe end of July or early August. He mentioned that he was going off to pastoral year, and, well, I mean, he's not going to be here. He's back in Atlanta in his home diocese. So we were thinking, who can we get? Who can we get? And let me tell you, we had a list of 85 guys.
And I was the 86th.
Yeah, you were the last pick. I'm kidding. No, honestly, it was you. And we kind of thought yeah, it's going to work. We kind of mentioned your name and it was like, yeah, that's probably it. So yeah, did you expect, so for the whole year, when we started the podcast, probably halfway through the year, did you follow it at all? Or did you no, philosophy is way too much for me right now?
Philosophy was a lot. So I caught them now and again.
So you came in blind.
But I came in pretty blind.
Yes.
I blindly said God has inspired them and I will follow his inspiration.
I follow blind.
I am in philosophy, so I don't even know if God exists yet. But we are proving him right now, as Descartes says.
Well, I could tell you can skip to the end. He exists.
I know, thankfully. That is what's holding this whole thing together.
So then what are your aspirations, at least for this podcast? What do you want to do for this podcast? Just talk.
Just talk. This podcast.
What do you want to bring new to the table that we have now in front of us on video? I keep want to stress that.
Yes, we are visible. I bring myself.
Wow.
To this table.
Wow. Are you going to sing?
I could sing for this.
You're going to read medieval history for
right. I bring a little Chaucer to the table. But I don't know. I would like to bring, in a sense, I have a great love of history and of art and beauty. And so somehow to bring that, not that I am beautiful, but the topics that we
now
discuss.
You can see if we're ugly or not. But that's good. No, I think that's exactly why we kind of we went down the list, and we know that some guys here have more of a personality to be either on a podcast, to be on social media, think in that sort of avenue, right? And so we kind of like, yeah, I think Michael's very much well-rounded in a lot.
I appreciate it.
In a lot.
In a lot.
So
basically they're saying I am a lot.
Oh, no.
No.
Well, if anyone hears him sing, it's a lot. It's very good. And he's got a loud voice.
So we'll have to save that for another night.
Do it right now. I'm kidding. But so that's great. This year is going to be absolutely fantastic. I think we have a lot of, I think, good ideas already starting from this year. I mean, really, the biggest change in formats is obviously video. We're here live and in person. We have the live studio audience behind us, which is one person. It's Aaron. And he waves hello. Again, we'll get that third camera soon. But yeah, we have a lot of guests lined up. And a lot of experiences that we can share throughout this summer that we just went through. So again, for those who are new, we pre-recorded all the episodes that we released throughout the summer. So there wasn't like a big gap that we were essentially gone, you know? But this summer was a lot. So I want to hear about your summer.
And then we want to hear about your summer.
Well, there's a point where we shared a summer experience.
We did share a summer experience. So this summer, I was in a parish in St. Peter, the Diocese of St. Petersburg at St. Stephen's in Brandon or Riverview. And the summer really was my first summer assignment. So seminarians, for the most part, if you don't know, for the summers can be sent to a parish where we live in the rectory. We shadow basically the pastor to get to know what is the life of a parish priest. What are we signing up for? And are we cut out for it? And so during my summer assignment, I got the joy of serving Mass, helping in the office, seeing basically the various forms of ministry which the parish I was assigned to, St. Stephen's, had. So one day I helped the St. Vincent de Paul Society for several hours, and we would bag food. We would just the fellowship ministering more so, since I didn't actually interact with the people we were giving the food to, with the volunteers themselves, and getting to learn their stories and their paths of faith, and seeing how some of them working there for like 20 years in the St. Vincent de Paul Society, and just the beauty of that. And so working in that environment, just seeing the value and the beauty of the volunteers in parishes. In addition to that, helping with Meals on Wheels one day a week, and then also helping out with the maintenance crew one day a week to value their work, because the parish can't run without its maintenance crew.
That is
I would
true.
know. I worked maintenance for several years in high school at my parish.
Oh my gosh.
But so doing that, and then also going out with the youth group. Going on retreats. My diocese has a big youth retreat for the young people of all the parishes in the diocese, and then also going to Steubenville, Orlando. Oh, nice! Which was a lot of fun. There were about 1,800 people kids.
Just 1,800.
Just 1,800, a measly, and getting to witness. The children, the young people as they are in that environment, and seeing their faces and they're hearing their witnesses as they come to know Jesus. So really the summer of a seminarian is wondering and being filled with awe at those they get to share it with. At least it was for me. And then the end of the summer culminating in Gabe and I at the Eucharistic Congress in Indianapolis. Yeah. So before we get to that, what was your summer like leading up to the Eucharistic Congress?
So my summer actually, I want to say that my whole summer experience, my summer assignment started way before we finished seminary, and not even being told like what parish I'm going to be at. More so that this summer, sometimes we have different like programs we can go to. And so one of them was the Rome experience, which is you go for 6 weeks, you go study in Rome, essentially. You go visit all the different churches, basilicas, you visit the Vatican. And something in my prayer, I brought that to prayer, and something kind of told me, you should stay. And I said, Rome is Rome. I kind of want to go to Rome. I mean, honestly, but it was the Lord telling me, no, you should stay. Like there's more here now for you. And so I went to my spiritual director, I told him, and I was like, I think that's what I'm going to do for this summer. And he goes, okay. He kind of was like, well, if that's what you want to do, like, well, we're going to see little by little how you are throughout the summer, but that's, and honestly, it was such a fantastic summer. So my parish was Corpus Christi in the Archdiocese of Miami. And already the theme is already in the name for Corpus Christi for the summer. And it was a parish. That parish has 5 missions attached to it.
Wow.
The pastor has been there, I think, now for 37 years. He is like, when we say someone is the GOAT, the greatest of all time, he is definitely one of them. He is just an amazing, amazing priest. Like the witness he gives to everybody, seminarians, lay people, whoever it is, he is a shepherd. I can't put it into words how great he is and how much I learned from him. There's so much wisdom that I learned from him alone and just from the people in the office, those who attended all the different missions. It was a fantastic experience. And then going to the Eucharistic Congress, that in itself was amazing. I feel like we can have our own separate episode on that.
Yeah, that would be.
And then, there, the Lord spoke to me very, very clearly, and we'll probably get to that another time. And then once it was all said and done, we finished, I think, August 15th for my summer assignment. And I had up until September 4th, I believe it was, that's my break, right? Just time off, just being home. And that was my plan. My plan was, I'm going to go down to the Basilica in Key West in Miami, just be there, right? Just have my own little quasi retreat. I always kind of do that. And so I went. Funny enough, I actually went with Tony.
Oh, there you go.
So we planned it. He also needed some time away. And I told him, you're more than welcome to come with me. So we went, and I was on the beach on my hammock, going like zoning in and out of like my sleep and my dreams. And just, I was having a grand old time. I got a phone call from a pastor from Miami that I've been in his parish during COVID for around like 2 weeks after Thanksgiving break. We didn't all go back to seminary. We stayed in different parishes so that, the quarantine stuff. And so I barely knew him in that sense. I mean, I know of him, he knows me, but we didn't necessarily interact that much. But he calls me and I'm kind of worried, thinking I had to be somewhere. I thought I missed something with the diocese. I did not know what was happening because I didn't expect the call. So he called me and he said, hey, long story short, would you want to join me in my parish to Prague and Poland for a pilgrimage this Thursday? It was Monday when he called me.
Oh my God.
I was leaving the keys on Tuesday and he said Thursday we're flying. So it caught me completely off guard and I was speechless at first. So then I kind of told him, let me make some phone calls. First one I made was to my mother. Kind of told her, hey, so I might not be home like I told you for like these next 10 days. This all happened. And she said, go. So that was extremely unexpected. The chapel there is the Divine Mercy Chapel at the Basilica as well. So it was all fitting. St. Faustina was there. And yeah, it was just such a beautiful experience being there. That could also be a whole other episode.
And we may very well do that.
But honestly, there was a Rome experience on the table, but I think what the Lord had provided for me was a blessing.
Yes, where God closes the door, he opens a window.
He opens a pilgrimage.
There you go.
He opens more than a window. But yeah, it was absolutely amazing.
That is awesome. Did you have, just quickly, a favorite place you saw on that pilgrimage or went on the pilgrimage?
I kind of thought about that after the fact. I have a favorite experience.
Okay.
I believe they're called the Daughters of Charity, but it's the Sisters of St. Vincent de Paul. And what they were doing is essentially housing refugees, either from Ukraine or different areas, literally just housing them. Like whatever the situation was, it didn't really matter. It was more so of, hey, our doors are open. Like, just, like come. Like we want to support you. We want to be there for you. And the sisters, because they're very holy, and they really are, every day at 7:00, they pray the rosary out in their little garden area, like within the center of the courtyard. And it just happened to have one of our pilgrims spoke to another man named Nick, I believe. He's from St. Louis.
Oh, wow.
In Poland, finding another American was just like, oh, wait, you actually live here. You're not on vacation sort of thing. So they spoke, they exchanged ideas and numbers and said, hey, come over for the rosary. So we went, and that's where I explained to my spiritual director and to everyone who I explained it to, where I saw the church alive. That's where I saw us come together of literally everywhere. We prayed together. We laughed together. We broke bread together. We had food together. We sang. We went to their chapel. We prayed. We prayed for him because he said he was going back to Ukraine. It was a whole like just night of, I mean, it was the church. That's all I can explain it. It was one of my favorite moments of the whole pilgrimage. And I saw JP2's home parish, his baptismal font. I went to St. Faustina's like house where she was just born, living, her home parish, the confessional she used, her baptismal font, all the different churches in Prague. I mean,
wow,
grand like basilicas and churches. Cathedrals. And with that just very simple and humble moment with them that made the trip for me.
That's amazing. And I think that ties very well, like at the Eucharistic Congress in similar fashion. It's like, for me, that the biggest moment in that wasn't necessarily the grand processions.
Oh yeah.
Or even the speakers. The speakers were amazing. And their witnesses are amazing. But what truly like touched me were the little moments, the little conversations, and seeing, it's like World Youth Day. So I got to go to World Youth Day the summer before. And that was like, the world is not alone.
Oh yeah.
And this was the feeling of like, America is not alone. And it was a palpable joy at being with God.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you see all the religious and just the joy of, you can't put 800 nuns in a room and not feel utter joy. And so seeing their witness of joy and the priest's witness of joy and just utter love for what they do and who they are.
Yeah.
Kind of like what you said about the nuns you saw, just the love of being there and being open to receive.
Oh yeah.
And it's just, it's an image of church, which I wish everyone could witness to some extent, that pure beauty of knowing that you are a son or daughter of our Lord Jesus Christ. And so, witnessing that in the Eucharistic Congress, or being there with you and many of our other brothers from here at the seminary, was amazing in that sense. So, yeah, it was a pretty good summer, it sounds like, for both of us.
I know. We can continue and just share everything we've had, but I think this is a good point to call this first episode, or this episode 0, this intro to season 2. It's going to be a great year. As I mentioned, it's going to be a wild ride, and I can't wait for it.
I am very excited to see what happens.
But I know most of our listeners and those who are new will now understand what we do. Maybe you know about this, maybe you don't, but we have this outro, this very iconic outro, where our guests, but now you're going to help me lead it.
Yes.
That we're pretty much going to say, well, that being said, we're all just in formation. So we're going to all say together, Aaron, you can join us. And we're going to look at the camera because we have that now.
Because now we have a camera.
I'm excited.
We can direct our gaze.
So thank you again for your yes for this podcast. Thank you, Aaron, as well, for doing all of this, because this would not be possible without you. So thank you again. Thank you. And yeah, look forward for our first proper episode 1. This is episode 0, kind of, again, like an intro. Look out for episode 1 coming just a week after we release this one. It's going to be a fun one, but I'll wait till we officially promote that to give it a little detail. But that being said, we're just in formation. God bless everybody. Take care.
Information, a seminarian-produced podcast from St. Vincent de Paul Regional Seminary with hosts Gabriel Campos and Michael Santos. Follow and subscribe to St. Vincent de Paul Regional Seminary's YouTube channel, updates for future episodes of Season 2. And please visit our website at www.svdp.edu/information-podcast for more information about this podcast and to see all podcast platforms we are available on.